Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Markeshia Jackson.
You might think that they're maybe busting out the window, but the police chief tells me that's not the case. What they're doing is going from car to car, just like I'm here doing, pulling on the handle, and if it's locked, like this one is, they just move right on to the next car, and if they pull on that handle and it opens, they are in and stealing valuables. But if you look right over there, this truck is passing it right now, but you can see the roof of that home right there. That just shows you how close these flames were to threatening those structures over there.
You know, I don't really hear that one a lot. I always hear, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Miss Jackson,
Ooh,
yes.
I am for real. But we're for real about the forecast, so take it away.
We are, yeah.
It's a really great day. I completed the 50-mile endurance ride at the Triple H and got it on camera, and I had some very special people cheering me on. Some of my family made the trip down, and even though they were holding signs for me, they were cheering for everybody. The reason for the delay is because one of the defense attorneys is having back pain, so jurors have been instructed to return here on Friday morning for jury selection. He started a fire at a vacant car wash, then led them on a foot chase. Take a look at this video of it all unfolding. According to Wichita Falls fire officials, it all happened. First thing we saw when we got here was this collapsed structure. You can see behind me some sort of a building just completely collapsed into this pile that we see here. I'm going to step back into the shot now and walk around to the back because it goes all around. It's really, really nice. And these images are just, I mean, absolutely beautiful. This time they were battling a large grass fire near Hatton Road, just southeast of Wichita Falls. Another popular place for crimes to happen, your residence. And if you have a Ring video doorbell like this one, police say it can come in handy in many different ways.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
Fans can party with Barbie. This is called the freak out. And I'm about to freak out. Where I'm standing right now, you can even still feel the ice right underneath my foot. You've probably seen those viral chiropractor videos of people getting their necks and backs cracked.
If it's your first time ever being adjusted, I'll ask you, have you ever watched any TikTok or YouTube videos? Sometimes those videos are great. Sometimes they cause a little bit of fear, right? So we always work through that. More people are adding chiropractic care to their day-to-day routine. And for Wichita Falls residents, there's a new facility to do just that, the Joint Chiropractic. But what's the bigger story here? Well, the doctor providing the care. I had one patient in another clinic where I was working. They're like, you going on a hike? I was like, no, I'm just blind. You heard that correctly. Dr. Preston Brown is legally blind, using his visual impairment to his advantage. His heightened sense of touch allows him to provide every patient he adjusts a one-of-a-kind experience. I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa at 18 months old. I've had my moments of rough times, but I take any adversity that I've always experienced has always served as a fuel for my success. These days, he finds success by improving the quality of life for everyone through routine and affordable chiropractic care. What we offer here is exams, consultations, and adjustments. Who do we treat? Everybody. So if you have a spine, then we're for you. Something he tells all of his patients? No matter what kind of diagnosis you've been given, that doesn't define who you are. You're a brother or a sister, a mother or father, an aunt and uncle, a business owner. You can be a doctor, a lawyer, a politician. Go after what you want to do. And no, he and his team will be there to adjust you along the way. James says his dog and him kicking out this window are what saved his life. He and his wife Ellen own Knick Knack Steak and Seafood House, and Sunday morning their beloved restaurant that they also call home went up in flames. Ellen says when she got the phone call, she was at a loss for words.
We ended up having a tragic underhead. It's emotional, it really is. It's devastating when you come back, and I was away, so I didn't know it happened until after the fact. So I had to come back to the restaurant and see all this, and it was very emotional.
The fire completely burned through the Fee's living area as well as the kitchen, serving, and dining area, all of which had just undergone renovations when the restaurant reopened in their new Henrietta location just back in July.
As soon as I came back here, I just cried and I just said all of our hard work to get our restaurant up and running, and I says, oh, we have to start all over again.
While the damage is extensive, Ellen says it could have always been worse. And it's thanks to their furry four-legged friend that it wasn't.
My husband's alive, which I'm glad. My dog Reebok saved him, and if he wasn't there, everything would be probably burnt. We wouldn't even have half of the house.
It's probably not easy to sacrifice for your kids, but I would imagine it's even harder to sacrifice for other people's kids. And my dad does that day in and day out.
It's touching words like that lets Robert Brooks know he's on the right track on this race we call life.
Growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was very rough.
Born and raised on the east side of Wichita Falls, Brooks says he never let the hardships around him stop him. And when he had his own children, he strived to show them a different life. One way to do that was through sports.
Talia was 5 years old when she started running. Javin was 6. And in the very beginning, I had them in the wrong races.
I didn't like it. I hated it, actually.
Yeah.
But the hate later became a love. Talia Brooks needs no introduction. She is a world-class track and field athlete currently in the pursuit of the Paris Olympics. Her siblings, Jasmine, Mercedes, Robin, and Robert, playing athletics or coaching at a very high level. It's what has inspired their father to ignite that same fire in other athletes.
My oldest daughter asked me one time, she said, Dad, why did you go back to Wichita Falls? And my answer to her was this. I said, you know, there's people like me that are needed to help get some kids out.
He does this through his organization, Curiosity Track.
I have a kid that left last year. Well, he graduated last year. That there's no way that if I wasn't in Wichita Falls that he would be a student athlete right now in college.
Pouring into everyone along the way, but especially the youth.
You didn't just derive from slaves. You are really someone.
Remembering as a community to give back, like my dad said.
When Dad isn't coaching his current athletes, he's cheering on his children like Talia.
I think about the Olympic trials in Paris, and when I'm there, I'm going to look back on these days and be like, that was hard, but it was worth it.
And she thanks her first coach, who was always looking for talent. Kids see this and parents see this and they want to get their kids in sports and track. I think you'd have got a call, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm the guy to call.
This church was founded in 1891, so we're well over 100 years old. The church has been very significant and highly regarded in the community.
Throughout history, the church has been a pillar in the black community, a place of worship,
in the sanctuary,
a place of celebration, a place of life, no matter what was going on in the outside world. That's exactly what Mount Pleasant Baptist Church has been to this community.
No pun intended, we would call ourselves the leading black church on the east side.
The story of Mount Pleasant begins in 1891. The congregation started out with 14 members. They would meet in the homes of members until a small building was built, a building that wouldn't stand for long.
This church has survived several bombing attempts, and they've rebuilt, and it's just been a very important part of our community over the years.
That bombing wouldn't be the last, but those trials and tribulations of racism and forced segregation in the Deep South were no match for the congregation's faith. Pastor Robert Castle recalls those days of the past quite vividly. He took over pastoring the church in the 1970s after his grandfather. Under his leadership, the church continues to grow. At the center of it all, its members, some there 50 years or more.
A lot of faith in God and a lot of determination. We do still have some members that are in their 90s and then others that are 100 or more. And many of the people that I pastor now, I baptized them myself and I pastored their parents and some of their grandparents. So that's real thrilling.
In its 100-plus years of service to this community, Pastor Castle says he's most proud of the fact that their helping hand has reached beyond Wichita Falls.
I've always tried to involve them in some sort of foreign mission. We had a ministry to Haiti. I'm really appreciative, too, for people from other races and other denominations that have always stepped in to assist us in what we were trying to do.
But with faith and a love this strong, Pastor Castle says he knows the church will remain a rock here on the east side, a message he always shares to his flock.
I try to encourage the young people, and I try to get the older people to continue to keep their faith in God and to hold on.
And so Mount Pleasant exemplifies strength, resilience, and surely Black history.